The ground produced crop, and he was already rich. All right? But listen to him. He tells the story. The ground of a certain rich man produced a good crop. He thought to himself, what shall I do? I have no place to store my crops. Did he think, I can give of my success? I have such a surplus I can now give to people? He didn't think that. He thought, I'm going to build a little more. But listen to this. This is what I'll do. I will tear down my barns and build bigger ones, and there I will store all my grain and my goods. He doesn't speak much, but in the words that he speaks, he uses about 60 words. And you know how many times he says I or my? About 15 to 20. So it's about a third of the words he uses. I and my. Now, when he says, I will tear down my barns and build bigger ones, do you really think this man will be using his own hands to tear down his barns and build bigger ones? He will not. There will be workers who will be working to tear down his barns and build bigger ones. Does he mention them? No. He lost sight of the people he depended on to have what he has. See, these are the workers that when they film movies about Manhattan in Central Park, and you have the nice couples drinking their lattes, right, and beside a fountain, right, and there's no one there, you know, because the movie edited them out. That's what this man did. I've always been surprised with movies in Central Park, where they're having nice lattes on a very beautiful day, and they're drinking, and I'm like, where are all the people, you know? I've never been to beside a fountain on a nice day, where there wasn't people hustling people to the left of me, there wasn't these stands, where are all these people? They got edited out of the movie, right? That's what this man did. I will build my crops, he had workers. He didn't think, maybe they need some help. Maybe they should get better wages. Maybe I should take care of them and their families. He failed to notice them because he failed to notice the people he depended on. I and my. And then he continues to go, I'll say to myself, you have plenty of good things laid up for many years. Take life easy, eat, drink, and be merry. He thought that his possessions and his materials will protect him from the reality of change, loss, and death. Right. But God said to him, you fool. Not next year. Not next month. Not next week. Not tomorrow. But this very night, your soul will be demanded of you. And then the following question is powerful. Then who will get what you have prepared for yourself? Now, that question is not an insult to the man. That question is the question for everybody listening to this parable. The question doesn't say, then what will you take with you when you die? That's a legitimate question. So when you die, you can't take all your shoes and jewelry and clothes and suits and cars. You can't take that with you. And so that's always something people say. You work real hard to get all these materials, but you can't take any of it with you when you die. Now, God could have asked that man this question. But what does God ask the man? Who will get what you possess? Meaning, because you were so self-absorbed, when you die, there are so many people who could be blessed by what you have, and now no one will have it. But if you spent your life thinking about others, thinking about where to give and how to give, thinking about how to make a difference in people's lives, thinking about how to make a difference in the community you're around, thinking about family members who may need it, thinking about friends who may need it, thinking about ways to be a blessing in someone else's life, your possessions then could have had an outlet to go to them. But since all you did was think about you when you die, who will get your stuff? So people who need it won't get it. And those possessions and that wealth goes to waste. This question is at the heart of this parable, where he's saying, when you only think about yourself and you only think about your materials, you miss out on the many ways you can bless is what you are called to do. Recently this week, I had to go to how do I call it? A memorial service where the person was still alive. A teacher of mine who made a big difference in my life has cancer, and it is unto death. So he's dying. He knows his time is short. His family knows his time is short. And so they called together friends and colleagues and students, a few students that he had, to gather together to express thanks for the difference he made in their lives. I actually think this is the better way to do it. I mean, to be honest, I never really understood funerals where the body is gone, and then you say all these nice things about that person. You know, like me personally, I don't know about you, but personally, I would really like to know if you thought a nice thought about me. You know, I guess you agree. You know, we do it a little backwards, but this time they did it, I believe, differently, uniquely. But I think this is actually temporally the right way to do it. I mean, but not everyone is as fortunate to know their deadline. He knows his death, so we got it. It was rough. It was beautiful, sad, but it was joyful in the end. Because people from different walks of life, people from different places, people from different positions in society, express the many ways that he touched their lives and blessed them. It's not touchable. It's not tangible. It wasn't in possessions. It was in their hearts, in their experience, and that's something death can never take away. He made a difference in what he did for people. And as we got to express it, you know, of course he cried. You know, but he made a difference. That's what we're called to do. We're called to make a difference. But the only way to make that difference is to realize it is in what we give to others. It is in what we do to make a difference in other people's lives. That's what lasts. And that's what counts. And that is what makes us no longer foolish. But that's what allows us to be available to the wisdom where God is calling us to something deeper than our own comfort. But God is calling us to be comforters to others. God is calling us to something deeper than our own blessing. God is calling for us to be a blessing in someone else's life. And so it only comes through when we express our love for God through what we give to others. And what we give to make a difference, a positive difference in others' life. You know it's coming. It's November. You know I'm going to have to turn this around to money. You know the pledge talk is coming. And here it is. I know that money is uncomfortable. I know that service sometimes is uncomfortable. I know that sometimes you get tight when you hear money in church. But we are coming at a point where this is the serious time to rethink about pledges and about giving to church. In some sense, this is the time where you are called by God to make a difference in the lives of the members of the church, in the lives of the visitors, in the lives of the community, through what you give, not just money, but in time, energy, body power, and gifts you have. This is a time where you have to reflect, and you know in your heart that being a blessing is the best blessing. You know in your heart that when you give, it does feel better than hoarding and receiving. You know in your heart that when you give, it is a beautiful thing that God loves and admires. I know y'all like to say God loves a cheerful giver. That's